such a powerful exercise.
Yay! Did you like it?
I love it. I loved it. I also felt myself tear up a little bit. It definitely was like a good wake up call to do this reflection exercise. At a certain point, I was just like, okay, this is not the way to go. I've learned this in the past. I need to practice what I've learned.
It's kind of fun because it feels like a lot of what we learned is very aligned. This 2024 year, I was basically using to re-establish my faith in the universe. I've definitely had several conversations with the universe this year where I was like, all right, what the heck? What do you want me to do? A lot of what I've learned has probably a lot to do with what you've shared with me. And there were definitely times at the beginning of the year where I feel like you were encouraging me. Thank you for our friendship.
Oh, I love you.
Yeah,
Thank you
I
so
love you
much.
too.
That's so sweet.
Highly sensitive friends since 2018. We've been sharing our journeys together.
And now we're bringing you along for the ride,
Welcome to Highly Sensitive Friends Talking,
where we chat about all things HSP, from daily life scenarios
to exploring spirituality, personal growth.
and all the aha moments in between.
So grab a cozy drink and settle in.
Because this is your space to feel seen, heard, and inspired.
Let's spend some time together.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to this next episode of our podcast. We have something really fun planned for today. Those of you that listened to the last episode, all about the holiday season, we mentioned at the end of the episode that we were going to do a end of the year reflection themed episode. And originally we had thought that we would reflect on our own and then come to the podcast with our reflections. But as life is the way that it is, our schedules were just such so that we had to record this a little bit earlier, probably than when you guys are going to be able to see it. So we decided that we would use the podcast as our time to pause and reflect. And then I had this idea of making a little reflections guided meditation exercise that we can do together on the podcast. And if you're listening, you can do along with us, which I also think will be really fun and cool. So if you would like to participate, grab a journal or something to write on if you have one. And if you don't have one handy, pause the video here, go grab that, and whenever you're ready, we'll get started.
Yay.
Sound good?
I'm so excited. Perfect. I can't wait.
Okay.
Sit back in a comfortable position. Close your eyes and take a few deep breaths. Get in touch with this present moment. The sounds that you hear, the temperature in the room, what the surface you're sitting on feels like, how your clothes feel on your skin, and how your body feels at this moment. Take a few more deep breaths. Ground yourself in this moment in time. At the very end of this calendar year, the year has almost completely passed. And believe it or not, we're about to start an entirely new year once again. Time is moving so fast these days. But as we move through time, we have more and more experiences and grow and learn. And just as much time has flown by, we have grown as well. As we connect to this present moment in time, at the very end of the year, imagine you're sitting on the top of a mountain. The landscape in front of you is still foggy, as we don't know what's yet to come in the new year. But in this quiet moment on the top of this mountain, we can take a moment to turn around and look over how far we've come this year, all that we've experienced and learned. As you look back over the experience you've navigated through, let's look at an overview of the events of this year. Think back to the beginning of the year. What were you going through in January, February, and March? Connect to and call up that time period in your mind. How about what you were experiencing in April, May, and June? What did the landscape of your life look like then? Now, July, August, and September. What were you experiencing during those months? And finally, October, November, and December. What have you been navigating in recent months? Now, with an overview of the various events that took place in your life this year in your mind, take a moment to sit with your experience of it all. The ups and downs. The moments of struggle. The moments of joy. The moments with unexpected twists and turns. The quieter moments of peace. Now, as you reflect on this year as a whole, choose a few words that you feel best describe your past year. Write them down in your journal. Now, think about how this year personally was for you to navigate. The emotions you experienced, the stress you may have been under, the unexpected moments. Now that you sit here in December at the end of the year, now knowing how this year played out, what is it that you feel your earlier self this year needed to hear or would have loved to know? Write that down in your journal now. In what ways are who you are now different from who you were back in January? Write down your thoughts. And finally, what lesson or two do you feel was your main takeaway from this past year? that you want to make sure sticks with you as you move forward in your life. Write that down in your journal. And when you're done, you can share what you've discovered.
Wow, such a powerful exercise.
Yay! Did you like it?
I love it. I loved it. It's so great.
Yay! Cool. Okay.
It really helped me to reflect or to get started on reflecting for the
Yeah.
holidays. So it's perfect.
Nice. Okay, cool. So yeah, I figured that we could share, and then, if you're watching this and you want to do this with someone else, you could maybe send them this episode and then you guys can share your responses with each other.
Yeah, or share it with us in the comments.
That's
if you
true.
don't feel comfortable with sharing it with your friends or people close to you, but rather share it with us. We are always happy to respond. So
Yeah, I would love
yeah.
to see. Actually, that would be really fun to see people's words and the lessons that you've learned. Can you imagine if we had all these comments of everyone putting in all the lessons they've learned? We would all grow so much.
Oh, wow. Oh, that would be amazing. Just
Yeah.
sharing these nuggets with each other.
Yeah, we would all have a collective upgrade by reading each
Oh,
other's
that sounds
comments.
amazing. I loved the fact that you talked about using 2 words to describe the year
Yeah.
2024 or whatever you're watching this in,
Right.
I really love that. And I was really curious which words you wrote down.
Mine was very mixed. My year was very up and down. Like there were a lot of really good things and a lot of stress. So for me, I wrote uncertainty and enlightening were like the 2 main ones for me.
Oh, wow.
What
Can
about
you
you?
maybe elaborate further on both?
Yeah, so it'll make more sense as we go into the further prompts. I figured I would end up sharing a little bit of background at some point in the podcast. Last year, my faith in the universe was kind of shaken. And
Yes.
as you know me, we both have very strong trust in the universe. And so prior to last year, I felt like I had this really good relationship with the universe. And then 2023 was the most traumatic, most difficult year of my life. And that's saying a lot because I've been through a lot of stuff.
Yes.
And
yes.
so this current 2024 year, I was basically using to recover, emotionally recover, mentally recover, financially recover, physically recover, as well as spiritually recover and kind of like
Yes.
reaffirm and re-establish my faith in the universe. My words were enlightening and uncertainty. I think that the personal work that I've done this year was really crucial to me being able to get more grounded and secure and come out of this year feeling like I really learned and grew from it. So that's kind of where the enlightening word came from. And the uncertainty is just working so hard trying to improve all of those areas and make progress and not having any way of knowing how it was going to go or if things were going to get better,
Yeah.
So yeah, that's my little spiel.
Yeah, definitely. I know that you really need some repairing in your relationship with the universe, and I'm really happy to hear that you guys worked it out.
Yeah. We went to some couple counseling and now we're good. Yeah, no.
Yes.
And I kind of feel bad saying that because I never really thought I would ever go through something that would really make me question things. And it wasn't really like I had no faith anymore. It was kind of just me sitting in this space of, I know there's got to be a deeper reason for this, but I can't see it yet. And I don't understand. And I'm open to, please send me
Yeah.
signals, please send me signs, please help me see, and over the course of the year, I definitely, especially through the other lessons I've learned, which we can get into later because I want to hear from you obviously first. But I think that through all of that is kind of how I was able to start seeing kind of how the dots connected and how if certain things hadn't happened that I wouldn't have been in the place that I am in now and things started to make a little bit more sense. And,
Exactly.
I think maybe you shouldn't have to have things make sense in order to have faith in the universe, because that whole idea of faith is believing in something that you can't prove, like that you can't see, that you don't have evidence of.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think the more that I kept coming back to the inner work and not so much focused on the external things of like, why is this happening? What is this about? Like that kind of thing. I think that really gave me the insight. I actually got the answers I needed about what the heck everything out here was about by doing the inner work, which is surprising. You don't expect that,
Yeah. It almost sounds like you went through the dark night of the soul
Yeah. It's funny
Yeah.
because like I've already felt like I've had those in my life, so I guess I just had another one.
But this one was like dark.
This one was, yeah, oh yeah, this was the darkest of the dark nights of the soul.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
But I'm so happy that this year has been more light for you, but also, of course, still challenging.
Yeah.
But I'm so happy to see you coming out of 2024 happy, and
yeah,
happier.
I feel like I can see the light at the end of the tunnel, whereas there was no light at the end of the tunnel before. It was like I'm just wandering in the dark trying to figure out what the way out is, kind of a situation. But most of our listeners who have already been watching our episodes know that like my life flipped upside down a couple of years ago and I've been having to rebuild everything. And it was basically in the midst of me starting over and having to rebuild everything, I went through something very traumatic and unexpected and horrible and terrifying and really upsetting and stressful and whatever. So it was one of those moments where I was like, well, I just took this huge leap of faith and left all of these things behind, and I was expecting the universe to kind of catch me. And it felt like it was like I just got kicked while I was down, and what the heck? But it is interesting because one of the things I did learn a lot about this year is manifestation and how your sense of self really does play out in terms of the energies you attract and what things, even like your perception of everything, regardless of even what the circumstances are. I realized that things might have to get worse before they get better to kind of show me all of those areas. I basically sent a message to the universe saying I want more for my life. I want to move towards healthier dynamics in all areas of my life, and I want to be more successful in all of these different areas. So I guess in a way we do have to have faith in what the universe sends us in terms of the obstacles and lessons that we need to learn in order to get there. Because I had this vision in my mind of what I wanted my life to look like for so long, and that is manifesting. I am trying to draw those experiences towards me and work towards them. But I can't necessarily know how I'm going to get there. And the universe might say to me, if you want these things and you want to go from where you are to where you are envisioning, there are some things you're going to have to unearth within yourself and work through. And so I kind of feel like, at least my perspective now, is that the things that happened along the way were the things I needed to face within myself. Like they were reflections of feelings that were buried deep down that I needed to work through in order to even get a glimpse of the life that I've been wanting to work towards. So very, I do feel like I navigated this swampy, haunted forest. And I'm finally like, maybe that's why I ended up using the mountain metaphor when I was doing the meditation, because I was like, it feels like I've come up and out of this really intense forest I just took this dark hike through.
Yeah. It definitely felt like it. When I heard your story, sometimes I was just like, oh my God, this can't be happening. How is it possible that one human being experienced so much in such a short span of time,
Yeah. And I want to just take a pause moment, as long as you said that, to thank you for our friendship over the past. I mean, obviously the past however many years we've been doing this, but I feel like you were an integral part in me being able to process and feel like I had someone going through it with me and giving me the pat on the back that I needed when I needed it, so.
Of course. Oh, I love you.
I love you too.
That's so sweet. Yeah, of course. That's what friends are for, right? So.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, I love what you wrote down. I think it's really, really enlightening.
Yeah. So you can share with me your words and how that is relevant to you. Yeah.
I wrote down building and busy.
That checks out. Yeah.
I just, for listeners, before this podcast episode, I was just sending Tiara this voice message asking if we maybe could move recording to later on, because I just felt I didn't even have the time to reflect on the life lessons I've experienced this year. And that kind of sums up the year I've had in terms of, just keep going and building in a sense of renovating our home, which took a lot of my physical effort, and building my business, which also took a lot of mental effort. So my entire days for the past year have just been focused on building. And I think it's really important sometimes that you have those years, where you really build for a better future. But I must also say that when I did your exercise, I also felt myself tear up a little bit, but I'm happy I had my eyes closed.
I was fighting it too. I was like, I don't want to get super emotional right now, but
Yes, I was a bit emotional because I just figured okay, when you went through this reflection moment where you reflected on your months and asked what were your highlights, I always just saw myself building and working. And while it is really nice to have a good home, while it is really nice that my business is doing better, I still kind of felt a bit sad that I didn't have the bandwidth to do other things like with the people that I love more, you know. I think that's an important life lesson to take with me into the next year, to really kind of reevaluate how much I want to spend on building. And I know that I still need to keep building a bit, you know, because our home is not finished, and I also know that my business still is not where I want it to be, but it definitely was like a good wake-up call, you know, to do this reflection exercise and realize, okay, still take a time sometimes to catch a breath and reflect and go inward. And even, you know, when you did the exercise, you asked me to grab a notebook, and I have this notebook which I really love, which is my manifestation journal. And
oh, nice. The Gabby Bernstein one.
Yes, I love it. And it's almost filled, but the last time I did like an entry was 2022, you know?
Oh my gosh.
That was before I bought my home. So also that was like kind of confronting for me. Oh, I love to do this so much. Why did I put it down, you know? So I think for me, it's a really good wake-up call, but in a good way. It's good to build, it's good to be busy, but remember to slow down sometimes.
Right. I mean, it's like what you're putting your time into right now is really important stuff. These are things you're building for your future. So it's a good time that you're working towards and you're spending. But it's like at the end of the day, the reason you're doing the things you're doing right now is so that you can have more peace and fulfillment and calm and all these things in your life, right? And so I think that I could totally relate to this too, where I just spent the whole year not really, because I've been learning this lesson, but especially at the beginning of the year was just stress, worry, fear, stress, anxiety, just so caught up in that. And one of the things I had written down as a lesson for myself is just now that I'm at the end of the year and things are starting to finally, the momentum is built and I'm starting to see results. It's like, oh yeah, I could have just trusted and relaxed at least the beginning part of the year.
Oh my God. I just have to stop you there because...
Did you write the same lesson?
Yes, exactly. Like I wrote down, things always have a way of working out.
That's so funny. Yeah, because that was a huge lesson for me, and I could see the same sort of thing for you in terms of what you had just shared. You know, I think that so many people, it's just a human thing where we want so much to work hard to get to the end goal because we think that once all of these things are in place, then I'll be able to really enjoy my life.
Yes,
and that's not that that's not true, because that is partially true, I think. But we have no idea how long that's going to take. Right? And we want it to happen within a certain time frame, but we have no way of what I said earlier when I was explaining, like the universe has its own plan. We don't know when or how these things are going to happen. So I think it's really important to make a priority to have that balance so that we are still enjoying our lives while we're building. Right? Yes. This is something I'm really bad at too. So I'm not saying you're bad at it, but that I'm not, this is not me saying I know what to do here. That's definitely a lesson I take away from this year. The more I leaned into trusting and relaxing and going within the right energy, the more I feel like things actually started working and I really seeing evidence of it. I also grew up having drilled into my mind that the harder you work, the more likely you are to be successful. I have a really hard time slowing down and relaxing, especially as women. If you want to be in our feminine energy, that's an absolute disaster.
Yes.
Because it's totally against our nature to be in this hustle energy, you know?
Yeah, it's a very masculine energy.
Right. And it's really hard when things are stressful and you feel like there's a lot to do to slow down. You're going to be fighting every natural urge that you have in order to slow down and relax. But I really made the effort. You know what? I've never tried this before. I've heard of this a million times and I've never actually given it a full try to just surrender, trust, take things day by day and move at a comfortable pace and just believe that everything is going to work out. So because of my financial situation, I've been trying really hard to secure other forms of income. So at the beginning of the year, really intensely, all I was doing was applying to jobs. And I was just slaving away applying to jobs, job after job after job, and nothing was coming in. This is insane. And so I doubled down. I was like, I have to solve this problem. I have to find this income and I have to secure this source of income for myself. So I just kept putting more work and more applications. And I'm going to solve this problem. I'm going to make this work. And the more I came at it with that type of energy, it was like just hitting a brick wall over and over again. I've definitely had several conversations with the universe this year where I was like, all right, what the heck? What do you want me to do? You know, and through those kind of moments where I was like, what the heck do you want from me? I really was able to kind of get the answers I was looking for. Just turning inward, I'm like, okay, what is the energy I'm bringing to this? And I really realized that you can't make progress no matter how hard you work and take action if you're not coming
Yeah.
at it from the right energy. So when
Yes.
I switched my approach from trying to just work really hard to solve the problem regardless of energy to being very intentional about my energy and then doing very intentional actions, world of difference, you know,
Yes,
in terms of
definitely.
results.
I can really relate to this lesson, because at the beginning of this year, I think our lives are always very synchronistic.
They
And at the
are,
beginning of
totally.
this year, my freelancing business was a bit slow. Some clients had decided to go a different direction in terms of marketing, and I didn't
Yeah.
have new clients on the horizon yet. But of course, I still have bills to pay. So for me, it was also quite a tough start into the new year. I was even at a point where I just talked to my family. I was like, okay, if this goes on for 2 more weeks, I just have to go and apply to jobs because I don't know
Yeah.
if I can keep going like this. In that moment, I was still in this desperation energy. I want to get clients. I want to find more projects to work on. And at a certain point, I was just like, okay, this is not the way to go. I've learned this in the past. I need to practice what I've learned in the past and just let go and trust the universe. And I
Yeah.
did some really good manifestation techniques at that time to really get into the good flow again and good energy. And after that, it's just started flowing again. And now I'm having my best year ever since I became an entrepreneur in terms of revenue, So I'm like,
Woohoo!
how is that possible? I was on the verge of stopping my business and now it's going so well. And it's just because I managed to make a change in energy
Yeah.
and also just really put my trust in the universe again, that everything always has a way of working itself out. So,
Right. Well, if
Yeah.
you didn't go through that struggle earlier in the year, then you wouldn't have ended up landing on the lesson that you needed to make your business do even better than it was before. That's
Yes.
kind of the takeaway I'm getting from all the stuff that I went through is like, that was an absolute crazy, horrible, stressful experience. But look at the lessons you've learned and how much that's helping you now going forward. I'm so much closer to my goals now than I was a couple of years ago. And going through all that crap helped me get there. It helped me learn and face the things I needed to within myself to have that expansive evolution to the next level, to be able
Yeah.
to even have the capacity to allow in some of these good things, you know?
Yeah. I really love it. What other lessons did you write down?
Well, so I'll share, because I think it'll make sense for the lessons that I want to share. The ways in which I feel like I'm different than I was in January is that I feel like I'm stronger, I have a higher self-worth, and I feel more secure and grounded.
Oh, I
And
love that.
I really feel like, especially with this, kind of came out of some psychological healing that I've been doing, as well as learning more about the nervous system state and how that really affects everything in your life, what you're able to attract and accomplish and all that, as well as manifestation, and kind of all that ties together, because I really got into this YouTuber. Her channel is called Manifest with Genevieve, and she talks a lot about your self-concept. I've heard so many things before about manifestation, about your feelings and your thoughts attracting the experiences, matching the energy. But I'd never heard someone talk about your self-concept, the things that you believe about yourself. And I'd already kind of been getting the lesson or the insights from my life experiences and wanting to learn more about achieving goals and manifestation, all these things, that we have to be mentally on board. We have to believe that whatever we want is possible. We have to be emotionally on board, feeling that we deserve whatever it is that we want, right? And then physically on board where our body feels safe enough to receive it. That was sort of my aha moment of, oh my gosh, this is the key to everything, right? But then I added in this piece of what I got from this YouTube channel of what you believe about yourself is the code that the universe around you is operating off of. You write the laws of your own life. And this idea just like blew my mind. For me, one of the lessons that I'm taking away is that what you believe about yourself is so crucial. And really to tune everybody else out was also part of that for me, because I feel like a lot of the sort of psychological healing that I was referring to is really going deep into my psyche and discerning what beliefs I have about myself that were implanted from other people in my life growing up.
Yeah.
And really challenging those beliefs and being like, who the heck were you to decide this about me, right? Like,
Yes.
and so I realized that once I changed my sort of identity of what my self-perception is, of what I believe is true about myself, that was the catalyst of the cascade effect of all the unfolding in my life, that I started to actually see things shift. And it's just been so incredible.
Yes, I love it. I love it. And what do you think is the biggest act of self-love you've experienced? What is the biggest compliment you could give yourself right now, looking back at the past
Yeah, I
year?
mean, I think that a lot of what I've been unraveling in terms of beliefs about myself have been my level of capability to accomplish things and my level of deservingness to receive love and to receive good things. And also that I'm worthy of financial success too, because that was a huge thing for me, was that I have so much. I don't even want to get into the story because it's just going to bum everybody out. But I had something said to me at a very crucial time in my life by someone very important to me. That statement wasn't a standalone thing. There were years of experiences prior to that with this person in my life. And so I've been working through a lot of untangling my self-worth from money kind of thing. And yeah, so I just feel like, I don't know, I've just had this very intense but gratifying internal psychological battle with all of these negative voices that have been in my head. And I got to a place, a very empowered, strong place where I just kind of was like, F you to everybody and anything in my mind that wasn't something that I was choosing for myself, you know?
I remember.
Yeah. And I just feel like I got back in touch with my personal power. And the other thing, so sorry, I feel like I'm like going on a whole thing here. But the other lesson I learned was how important, especially for sensitive people, is protecting your energy and protecting your sense of self-worth, regardless of circumstances, regardless of other people's opinions. The other thing that was hard for me this year is that I've been working so hard, and like you, the people who are close to me know how hard I've been working to solve these things and improve these areas of my life. But on the outside, to a lot of people who have given me either energetic feedback because I can tell how they're interpreting me, or verbal feedback that confirms that they think I'm lazy, that I'm not trying too hard. I actually had someone tell me, put your big girl pants on and go solve your problems. And I was like, you have no idea what I'm doing behind closed doors to solve these things. And so on the outside, on paper, at 33, I'm single, I'm not financially independent, and I'm living with a parent. So it looks like I'm just this bum, but I know that on the inside, that I'm busting my ass trying to make all this progress. And so it really was a huge lesson for me to realize I really need to have psychological boundaries in my mind, because there would be times where I'd be home alone and I would still be getting berated by these voices of people over the course of my life in the back of my mind, telling me that I needed to work harder, that I was being lazy, that I was good for nothing, all these things. And I'm like, there's nobody in the house with me. I feel so judged, everything I was doing, but no one was there with me, you know? And so, I just had this moment of like, I'm gonna just have a little sword in my mind, and anytime a negative thought comes in, I'm just, get out here. That's not, I didn't decide that. Who the hell are you to say that shit about me?
Oh, I love that. Just a warrior.
I mean, I kind of did embody this. And I even the year prior to this embodied the warrior energy to kind of get through the day-to-day of what I was dealing with. And so
definitely.
I really feel like, I just feel like I'm so happy with the internal energy shift of, I really feel like, and I know I still have a lot of work to do, but I'm excited about it because it feels like a whole new experience for me to actually stand in my power and have a very strong, I have a sense of self-worth now that nobody can F with.
I love it.
Nobody can take it away from me now. So F you,
Yes. Oh, I'm so excited to see what the next year has in store for you. I think this energy is so great, you know, going into the new year and working further towards your goals and dreams.
And I'm glad that you're along for the ride with me on this podcast too. I think that this is a very fun merging of our insights and our lessons that we're sharing and our energies, you know?
It's just really fun and casual, you know? It's just really relaxing. I really love it.
Was there anything else from your lessons that you wanted to talk about?
I think I found two main lessons.
Okay.
First of all, I became more resilient this year. In my work, I've had to deal with a lot of different kinds of people. You know, in the past, when I received feedback about my work, I always used to struggle with it because I immediately felt hurt and I was really sad and I thought I'm not good enough. It was immediately attached to my sense of self and also my self-esteem. I've been doing a lot of self-esteem work in the past years as well. And I figured this year is the first year where I'm not really that much affected by feedback anymore. And I've really had this shift in myself, in my work with clients, in a sense that when somebody gives me feedback for my work for them, I always see it like we are together working towards the best end result, you know, and not when they give feedback, it's not feedback about me, but it's feedback about the work that we intend to achieve together. So for me, that was such an important mindset shift, being the perfectionist that I am, because it's really hard for me to not attach my self-worth to when somebody's being critical of me. But just learning that we are together working towards the best end result, and the feedback is helping to achieve that end result, was such a big lesson for me. And I really hope that the perfectionists listening to this podcast also can take that away and take this lesson with them. Whenever you receive feedback the next time, just think, okay, this is feedback, so we can make the result even better. It's not about me, it's about the work, and not attach your sense of self to the work you do.
That's such a huge, important distinction to make.
Yes.
That's amazing.
Yes, it has really helped me to be happier in my work as well, because you will always have critical people that you work with. You will always have people that are more perfectionistic maybe than you, or have a better eye for detail. That's their quality, that they in that moment use in the work together with you. And if you have a coworker where you feel like, okay, she or he always rubs my nerves when when they give feedback, just think of it. Okay, we are together working towards the best end result. It's not about me, it's not about her or him. It's about end result. And I think that's such a good career lesson that I've taken with me into the new year. And I think that's the first one. And I also had another lesson that I learned more maybe privately in relation to my relationships with people around me. And when there were situations that were triggering me, of course, afterwards, I would have conversations with people who were triggering me. And through those conversations, I've also learned that the actions that the people showed to me were also a direct result of their baggage that they are carrying, So it didn't always have something to do with me, but it was often also about them and their own experience and their own struggles that were triggering something in me. So that was for me also really insightful, that I knew, okay, not everything I do is wrong. Not everything I do is my mistake. Sometimes it's just that we get triggered by each other's baggage. Just having that knowledge that you don't have to carry the weight of the world on your shoulders was for me a really helpful lesson to learn this year, that I can just understand, okay, that other person also has their own baggage. That's not my responsibility to carry. I cannot fix it for them. It's their task. That was such a powerful lesson to take with me into the new year.
Yeah, and I'm sure you feel like you have so much more energy available for yourself when you let go of that responsibility of trying to take on their stuff or whatever,
Yes. Yeah. It just feels much more relaxing knowing, okay, I'm not responsible for everybody's happiness,
Right.
I always was the one who wanted to make everybody feel happy, make everybody feel at ease. When somebody was sad, I wanted to take their pain away. And now I realize maybe sometimes people need to feel the pain, in order to grow from it. And
absolutely.
It's there for a reason, and it's not my responsibility to take that away. Initially, I would take away a lesson from them, if I would do that.
Exactly. So, right.
Yeah,
it's funny because when you were talking about the perfectionist thing, the first lesson, I had been thinking about how something that I had learned as well was that I feel like I've been able to take things less personally in my life by learning more about psychology, because now I understand that everyone shows up from their own life experiences, from their own beliefs about themselves, from their own lens, from even the experiences they had that day is going to affect how they perceive anything. So like you could work your butt off to be the perfect whatever, insert role here, whether it's a partner, a friend, or a coworker or boss, but at the end of the day, they're going to come at things from their own lens. And so it kind of lets you let go of the responsibility again to try to be perfect for everybody, because it's not even possible.
Yes.
And also know that however they react to you is a conglomeration of their own stuff that they're looking through, right?
Yes,
so it's like you don't have to take it personally because you know that it's a filter through their own lens. As secondary, which is what you were just describing, is not having to really take the responsibility for being the people pleaser or trying to get it perfect all the time, because that's not really our job, And I think that relationships become so much healthier when you meet in the middle, right? And you actually figure out what you're truly responsible for. Let everyone else be in their realm of responsibility,
Exactly.
Yeah.
I think it's also giving a lot of peace within, when okay, I don't have to carry everybody's stuff with me. I'm only responsible for my own thoughts, my own reactions, or what I say to other people, The rest is up to the other person, how they deal with that situation, So
right. For people pleasers, I think the best advice is behave and do the things and make the decisions and the actions that feel the most aligned with who you want to be, who you're proud of being, and let go of everyone else's perceptions, because you could show up and be perfect, right? And someone could still get upset by something. Or like
Exactly.
you'll please one person in the room and the other one you won't. At the end of the day, I think we can sleep at night if we just show up in the way that we feel the most proud of. And there's a quote somewhere that's like, other people's opinions of you is none of your business, or something like that. Like, it really isn't. No, like it's not.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter.
Right.
It doesn't matter. What matters is what you think about yourself. And
Right, which-
if you feel happy with that.
Which totally ties into what I was sharing about, like, one of the lessons that I had learned was it's so important to just focus on your own beliefs about yourself and tune out everybody else.
Yeah.
Because it's just a mess in there if you let everybody else have their opinion, you know?
Exactly. Yeah. So I think those were the lessons that really came up for me in this powerful reflection exercise. I don't know if you have any more lessons to share that you wrote down.
Circumstances don't define your worth, which I kind of touched on a little bit. It really matters more what the meaning you're making about your experiences than the actual circumstances themselves. And tuning out everyone else's opinions as well as the circumstances. It's just more important how you show up and how you deal with things. Working harder doesn't necessarily mean more results.
No, I can relate.
And kind of all of that also protecting your energy. I don't remember if I mentioned that at all.
At least you did with the psychological bound.
But it's also kind of like what you were just describing too, protecting your energy in terms of what you're giving to other people and what you're feeling like you're responsible for, and not letting other people's opinions drive a wedge in there and get in there and plant bad seeds, you know?
Exactly. Yeah, so true.
Yeah. It's kind of fun because it feels like a lot of what we learned is very aligned, which doesn't surprise me because A, that just happens with us. But also B, we've been chatting all year. We've been sharing our insights with each other all year. So
True. It
I
makes
feel like
sense.
a lot of what I've learned has probably a lot to do with what you've shared with me. Because I remember you telling me, like, yeah, I know, right? It's very aligned. And I think that there were definitely times at the beginning of the year where I feel like you were encouraging me to just trust and relax and slow down. And you had shared that you had learned that lesson too. So we were both just like,
we were both just like, okay, let go of the stress.
Yeah.
Relax, have faith. And in the end, everything worked out for us, you know? So
there you go.
If one of our listeners is really stressed out right now, the best advice we have is to just take a deep breath and really have faith that everything will sort itself out. Everything will be okay.
Thank you so much for joining us on this podcast episode. We hope that this was really helpful to you, that maybe you gained something from what we've shared, or maybe the reflection exercise brought up something within you that you felt like was really useful to bring into 2025 or whichever next year it is that you're watching this.
Yeah. And if you're really eager to share your lessons and what you've taken away from this exercise in the comments, please feel free to do so, because we'd be so happy to read it and respond, of course.
Yes, would love to see them.
Thank you so much for listening. Bye-bye.
Bye. Yay!
Thank you for tuning in. Would you like us to talk about a specific topic in our podcast? Make sure to comment and we'll keep it in mind for the future.
And if you enjoy what we're doing here, we'd love for you to like and share this episode so that our podcast reaches other HSPs who can enjoy it as well.
While you're already here, don't forget to check out our additional resources for HSPs and empaths.
And Catherine has her own blog site and has created an online membership for HSPs and empaths with featured experts on relevant personal growth topics every month.
And Tiara has her own YouTube channel and has also built a step-by-step online program for HSPs on the journey to thriving in their health, relationships, and career.
All of our links are in the description. See you on the next episode.
So excited for this. This is like such a great idea. I
I was like, I know the universe is gonna just send one of us an idea and we're gonna be fine.
Worked out perfectly fine, so I'm happy.
Cool. Okay, maybe I have to move closer, or maybe I can. Hold on. I have to like judge my setup.
When you watch back this recording, that was so smooth.
I have my computer on top of a box on top of two bins on the floor. I just like pulled the bins towards me. So yeah, that's why. I already lost my train of thought. Oh man, it's like right on the tip of my brain. Wait, hold on. Oh, am I recording? I just started a new recording instead of playing the other one. Okay, try that again.